one of our passions is to re-engage people of all ages with the joy of letter writing. And we thought we've got to be a bit imaginative. We've got to think a bit outside our gift box or our post box. And we were reminded that this year is the 80th anniversary of the Beano. And the guys at the Beano up at DC Thompson in Dundee are very keen that as part of their messaging to their 23,000 subscribers every week, which is quite remarkable, that it's not all about social media and texting and mobile phones. While they have a place, the joy of actually having something drop through your letterbox or posting something through a box is equally exciting, and even more so because as Dennis was reminded by his mum, having a postman is like having your own personal valet to deliver your items. So I would suggest you just go for it. And the artwork, again, brought together by my colleague, Uncle Paul. He is referred to on the stamps as Uncle Paul the Postman. In the Beano Town Post Office, he went up to Dundee to talk through with the guys there in the Beano studios aspects of the Isle of Man that we thought would be wonderful to incorporate on a comic strip for our Christmas stamps. So the story of Dennis coming to the Isle of Man and not really wanting to come on the steam packet and the rough seas and everything, and why go to this little island when all his pals were somewhere else. Anyway, Dennis lost his mobile phone overboard somewhere in the Irish Sea, and the story just runs on from there, really, about Dennis's experience.
And the result is a wonderful collection of stamps. And when we put this video onto Facebook and the Max Radio portal a little bit later, we have some enlarged ones just behind Maxine there, so you'll be able to see them.
And the remarkable thing about them when you look at them is seeing some of our iconic landmarks immortalised, but in comic form. It's so cool.
It is, absolutely. And we've had the most wonderful response. We try to balance our Christmas issues with lots of different aspects. So last year, you might remember, it was the 12 Days of Christmas. Previous to that, it was the Manx Prayer Book. So different aspects of Christmas we always try to feature on our stamps, and this follows in a very long tradition of original artwork, which we're thrilled to support, and particularly as we have the art world here today with us from Castletown.
Absolutely wonderful. And there is a special Beano Town Post Office top secret message kit and a collector's album and a fan pack available as well.
Now, nobody's listening to this, are they? Because it is top secret. I can tell you, but we mustn't tell anybody else.
Go on, just whisper it.
So anybody who happens to be listening, it's all secret. So what we have is... a few years ago, we wanted to do for letter writing what Harry Potter had done for reading, and we reproduced the Owl Post Office. And we knew we'd been successful when a grandmother sent something through the Owl Post Office, and she rang us up and said, "I must just tell you about my grandson's experience." We said, "Oh yes." He felt sure he saw the wings of the owl through the letterbox. And that was the magic of it all. So we've done something similar this time, where we have 12 postcards, all to match the stamps. And the gift pack allows people to send their messages through the Beano Town Post Office. And Uncle Paul will put his postmark on it. And these can be purchased worldwide, sent back to the Beano Town Post Office, and then we'll put them into the mail system. And we had one today where somebody was thanking, where Dennis was thanking somebody for sending Nasha some Manx dog food. Now, what that would be, I don't know, but maybe over to Art Jekyll. And this is a real... I was reminded a few weeks ago when I had a cousin come home from Australia, and she, as you know, people come home and they bring their little... goodie bag of photos and letters and everything. And I'd written a postcard to my cousin in 1984 asking could I go and stay with them. And to see this postcard that I remember writing, and you know, the style of handwriting in 1984 that I had and my thoughts at that time. Now, if we didn't write letters, or we didn't, you know, you can't put a text message on a mantelpiece. And then on Sunday, when we were having, we were commemorating the end of World War One, my mother-in-law's family had kept all the letters that her uncle had sent home from the Somme. And to be able to read those and see his handwriting and his thoughts, and if we just don't have anything that's material and hard copy, well, we've got no history, we've got no heritage, and it's all lost. So I know that whoever you send this postcard to will keep it in their little memory box. And when, you know, if kids send them to Granny will keep them, or if Granny sends them to their grandchildren, Mum will put it in the little memory box. And, you know, some point in the future, they'll be reminded of Christmas 2018 and what it meant to them at that time.
How wonderful.
Better by letter.
Did you get to go to Australia?
I did go to Australia.
Just wondered.
Yeah. And I was made so welcome, and to have the joy to welcome my cousin back to the island a few weeks ago was just very special as well. So it's all about communicating and remembering that we have very special things to say about our island, and you know, in this particular week of the Awards for Excellence, we should be reminding people about all the great things. I've just coming in the car here, and I think there's nothing more exciting to see the Irish Sea absolutely wild and white horses. And I think, gosh, you know, the excitement of just living on an island. So tell everybody.
When was the last time you wrote a letter then, Maxine?
I wrote a thank you letter because I was invited to Ramsey Grammar School to see the wonderful production of We Will Rock You. And I wanted to tell Annette Baker, you know, to how wonderful and marvellous this whole experience was. And that was my last letter. But the one I've written most recently, but it will definitely not be my last letter.
Maxine, lovely to talk to you this afternoon. The stamps are just wonderful, and I know lots of people will have received a brochure which details everything about the festive season and Isle of Man post office opening hours. Where can people go to for information online, though, for that?
Online, you can go to iompost.com. We have a special area on the homepage for all the activities and all the key information for the Isle of Man post office in the run up to Christmas. And then for our Beano Town Right Christmas, you can go to iomstamps.com. And we'll be through. And of course, we mustn't forget the other little service we do, which is Letters to Father Christmas. Now, already we've had letters in. I think one came from my husband, one came from the chief executive of the post office with their little Christmas lists. But we do encourage people to write early because we have sleigh rides leaving the Isle of Man every evening, going up to Lapland with all the Letters to Father Christmas. And the man himself knows that everyone needs to get a response back through the Beano Town Post Office. So he's on target for this big demand that's coming his way.